Everybody, my name is Stetson Randolph, and today we're going to be talking about analyzing and resolving conflict. Some of the objectives that we're going to cover is explain how conflict starts in the workplace, identify methods of analyzing and resolving conflicts, provide different scenarios of conflicts and the roles that the human resource department play, provide pictures and illustrations, and provide some references for you all. All right, just moving forward, we're not going to go over all the 15 slides. We're going to go over certain slides that I feel like that are most important during this meeting. A lot of the slides have videos and commentary, and then we talk about it at the end. But since we are not in a large group, we can do a more one-on-one based scenarios. Okay. Slide 3. How conflict starts in the workplace. In the workplace, conflict comes in two forms: at the individual level and at the operational level. At the individual level, it has to deal with different personalities, a person's ability to be flexible to adapt to organizational change. Is the person trainable? Also, it is based on the capacity of the individual, as it does not include organizational factors. On the other hand, you have organizational factors which could include the following: the company setting unrealistic needs and expectations on the individuals, increase in workload and unresolved workplace issues and business values. As a leader, it is very important to identify and understand the root of the conflict. I think that's very important. So when we look at both individual and organizational conflict, it oftentimes go hand in hand. Historical data suggests that both conflicts often stimulates managerial and theoretical strategies. At the individual and organizational level, having personality clashes is a common occurrence. This can occur when two colleagues have a disagreement and suddenly fall out. Also, this can occur when new members join the team. It can create competition amongst peers. Okay, you can see that all the time. When new people join the team, it feels like they want to take your spot. I can see that. At the organizational level, oftentimes unrealistic expectations are set. This is a common occurrence because employees often forget that employees need to focus all their energy on the mission. An example of this is scheduling employees' hours that make it difficult to carry out their parenting duties. So I can see this happening too, that employers focus all of their energy on the mission. They don't really care about their employees' personal lives. They don't care about their parenting duties and other agendas that they have. So as a employer, you have to think about this and that, not just the mission. You have to know each and every individual employee, either to cater to their needs so you can get the maximum results out of your employees. Okay, we're going to move on to slide 4. Methods of analyzing and resolving conflict. When analyzing a conflict, there are a variety of factors that need to be considered. They are as follows. What is the root of the conflict? It is important to gather information, ask as many questions as possible in order to get to the root of the problem. This can be accomplished by using a series of questions like, how did the incident occur? What is there a relationship between you and the problem? And when did you feel offended? It's important that when you feel offended. All right, next, let's look past the conflict. Sometimes it's not the conflict, but looking at different lenses of the individual parties. It is important to look through the lens of the individual to figure out what caused the anger and disruptive actions. So, as a leader, you have to look through the lenses of each and every employee that's involved in the conflict. Because if you only see through your ocular lens as a leader, you might miss some things. If you look at the big picture, you can make a better assessment and make a better decision of what needs to happen. Okay. Let's look at possible solutions to the conflict. When figure out possible solutions, you have to get both parties' viewpoints. Also, it's very important to promote the active listening and not just put the finger on anyone. During this stage, you want to give both parties to work together in order to solve the conflict. All right, let's recognize some solutions. As you continue to have a listening ear, point out solutions that will benefit both parties and the organization. Furthermore, give ideas that will promote collaborations. So I love to read, and one of my favorite books is Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Robert Covey. One of the habits he's talking about, first, be slow to speak and quick to listen. So that's important at any level. You want to get you don't want to get your point across first, but you want to ensure that you gather all the information and then maybe repeat that information back to the person that's having the conflict. That might solve some things. All right. And then finally, come to an agreement. As the mediator, an agreement needs to be made between the two parties. What are some plans that will be put in place to mediate or prevent conflict from occurring in the future? So let's think about this scenario. You might have an issue now, but what can you put in place that can deal with the issue now and prevent the same issue or different issues from occurring in the future? That's very important, guys. All right. So the next couple slides or videos, we're going to go to another scenario-based question that you can actually read out loud. We're going to go to slide 7, guys. Leadership conflict. The first scenario is leadership conflict. All right. So one of the parties that's involved is James. James is the sales manager and have been in the position for a little over a year. So he's seen a little stuff, a little over a year. We see. While in the position, he has proven results. While under his watch, the company has noticed an increase in sales. So under his watch, you can see the results that he's producing. Okay. While in the position, a few of the sales reps feels like James is too involved in their work. Additionally, they feel like he is looking for them to make a mistake so that he can call them out. Conversely, employees feel like he cannot take criticism himself. So he feel like, let's break this down. We feel like he can talk about somebody and their mistakes, but on the same light, when somebody bring up something that he does, he doesn't want to accept the responsibility. Okay, let's continue reading. Recently, one of the top producing sales reps is getting tired of James' actions, and they feel like they will be suited better working for another company if James continues his leadership style. All right. We got all the information. Let's look at a possible solution. It is important that both employees solve their conflict at the lowest level. That's very important. Keep it at the lowest level. If this cannot happen, then the next course of action is getting human resources involved. With human resources involved, a mediator might be involved in the situation to ensure that both parties are heard and their concerns are addressed. The mediator should ensure that he is a neutral party and no sides is to be taken. Once both parties have been heard, then a plan should be established that will create a win-win situation between both employees in the company. Get both parties to agree and execute a plan. It's very important. You want to make sure all parties involved throw out your suggestions and come to agreement that creates a win-win-win situation for everybody, for the two parties involved and for the company. Cultural conflict. Okay. So we're going to look at cultural conflict. Sarah and Karen works in human resources. Sarah is a devoted Christian and a Democrat. If someone wants to go to her desk, you will see that her religious viewpoints are demonstrated. Karen, on the other hand, is an atheist and is a liberal. She feels like people that are into religions are not intelligent. Okay, they both have very strong stances. We see. Both women know that the other stance on religion and political, so they avoid talking about these subjects. When it comes to current events, it is obvious the tensions between the two. One day, Sarah comes into work wearing a political shirt that lets everybody know that she supports a certain political candidate. Karen is on her last straw and feels like Sarah's actions are creating a hostile and alienating work environment. Karen is threatened to quit and pursue legal actions because she feels like the company is allowing a hostile work environment. Okay, we got all the information. Let's think about a possible solution. Clear rules should have been established early on that outlines the company's policies on public display of one's religion and political viewpoints. So when they first hired, they should have got all the information, or they should have got the training that was needed to let them know what political viewpoints and religious viewpoints are acceptable and not acceptable. So we wouldn't be dealing with this problem. Or also they should have annual training. Okay. Next, both women should have a chance to air out their concerns that should be one of the first steps of the resolutions. During this process, the company policies of being respectful of one's beliefs should be addressed. Policies should be addressed at this point. Now you know the do's and don'ts. At the end, let both women know that the company support them, but they should keep their personal beliefs to themselves. I think keeping your personal beliefs in the workspace to yourselves will lessen up a lot of tension that's already there. All right, we're going to move on to slide 11. Work personality differences. Work personality difference conflicts. Joanna and Tim are both accountants. Jonah has worked with the company for over 10 years, and Tim has been with the company for 4 months. So you see that Joanna is heavily invested in the company, and Tim is kind of newly on board, trying to figure the ropes out. Okay, we're just going to summarize the rest. Joanna feels like Joanna is a planner. She likes to get ahead of different tasks. On the other hand, Tim, he's very proficient at his job, but he kind of waits till the last minute and the last hour to complete his task. Joanna feels like she has to manage her and Tim's responsibilities to ensure that nothing drops. And the last little part of the slide is Tim is starting to take some time off because he doesn't really like conflict, and to prevent the conflict from him and Joanna, he takes some time off. Okay. Let's think about some possible solutions. So some possible solutions to this is accountant might be small in the organization because, accountant is a specialized skill. Maybe they're assigning them to different tasks. If you assign Joanna to tasks that requires planning, good time management, she'll probably be productive with that. If you assign Tim to tasks that requires you to have an answer at the last minute, have creativity, he'll possibly excel at that. So give them two different assignments so they don't have to work together, but they can hold themselves accountable so Joanna doesn't feel like she has to carry the workload for both of them. On this one, I kind of want your feedback as we was in a big setting. I want everybody's feedback and how they would deal with the situation. All right, we'll go to slide 14. We're going to go to the references. If you have you want to look up some of my references that you can use in the future for future classes, sure, just look on slide 14. And then lastly, on slide 15, do we have any questions? If not, it's been a pleasure doing this PowerPoint with you. Y'all have a great day. See you later.